Welcome back to Beginning Band COVID Companion, Distance Learning for Band. This is video 3 of a 4-part series. We already learned how to assemble and disassemble our instrument. Then, we learned how to maintain the mechanics of our instrument and disinfect it. Now, we will learn how to make beautiful sounds on just our mouthpiece. Lastly, we will perform our first notes. Your sits bones, spine, and neck are all stacked so as to not inhibit breathing. Your arms should be gently lifted away from your body. Your shoulders should be down and relaxed. This is especially important for the alto saxophone. Sometimes, alto saxophone players are very petite. Petite players playing with your saxophone to the right of your body is an option if it helps you reach the keys more easily without hurting your hands. However, this side option should be reserved for tenor saxophone players and baritone saxophone players if you are not extremely small. Consider the default that you should play your instrument to the center if you can. Your elbows should hang freely and loosely away from your body, not tense, but not collapsed. You should bring your saxophone to you instead of bringing yourself to the saxophone. That is what happened in the center. She brought herself to her saxophone. That will make it so that she cannot freely breathe. Any posture that does not allow you to breathe freely and deeply is a detriment to your playing and should be avoided. Your hand position when you play the saxophone should be a relaxed letter C. In order to find this, let your hands relax at your sides when you're not holding an instrument. If you shake out all the tension in your shoulders and then look at your hands, they will automatically, naturally form a C position that is relaxed. As for your left hand, you will take your relaxed C formation and put it on the upper part of the saxophone. Your index finger will skip the topmost key. Sometimes that key will look like a pearl as pictured. Other times the color will match the color of the bars instead. Either way, whatever the topmost thing there is to touch, we're not going to put our finger there yet. Your left pinky will rest on the square pinky keys, but they don't have to press them down until they're called for. Your left palm should avoid touching the upper side keys. Bumping them will often cause squeaks, so let your grip be open and relaxed so that you don't accidentally hit the side keys. Your first 3 fingers of the left hand will cover the pearls with the plumpest part of your finger, not your fingertips, not your knuckles. Those are called fingers 1, 2, and 3, where your index finger is number 1, your middle finger is number 2, and your ring finger is number 3. Your first 3 fingers of your right hand should cover the pearls with the plumpest part of your finger, not your fingertips or your knuckles. Those fingers are called fingers number 4, number 5, and number 6, where number 4 is your index finger, number 5 is your middle finger, and number 6 is your ring finger. Your right pinky should rest on the bottom pinky keys, but they don't need to press them until they're needed. Your right palm, just like your left palm, should avoid touching the lower side keys. Bumping them will often cause squeaks, so keep your grip open and relaxed. When you are not pressing a finger down, the finger needs to be pulled away from the instrument to release that pad. It will be tempting for your fingers to go too far away from your instrument, but that is unwise. Simply lift your finger high enough for the note to change, and that will be sufficient. Logically, It's easier to accurately hit a closer target than it is a further target, so you don't want your fingers to go too far away from your instrument. The picture on the right has what we call flying fingers, meaning that her fingers went too far away from her saxophone an unnecessary amount, and it will be more difficult for her to put them back when it's time to use them again. However, with the picture on the left, her fingers have only moved the minimal amount for her notes to change. You can barely tell that they've moved at all. When you play the saxophone, your left thumb should be at about 1 o'clock, also known as a 30-degree right tilt, so that it can easily transfer from the thumb rest to the octave key with maximum efficiency. For now, the left thumb will touch, but not press, the long vertical octave key. The majority of the weight of the instrument will go into the neck strap, not your right thumb. Be sure that you don't grip with tension. Your hand should always be relaxed, otherwise it will hurt. In order to achieve this, your neck strap needs to be adjusted so that you can play a note hands-free, just like the person in this picture. You shouldn't have to move your neck up or down in order to make this happen. Next, we will form the embouchure. Embouchure is a word that means what your face does in order to sound beautiful. Say the syllables E and U to stretch your chin downward to be flat and pointy. This is extremely important with every note that you play. That pointy chin will allow for the correct contact between your lower lip and the reed. Do not play the saxophone with puckered lips. Your lower lip should be slightly rolled over your bottom teeth. Place your top teeth on the top of the mouthpiece. Close your jaw so that there is very gentle pressure coming from your stretched bottom lip on the reed. Do not bite down onto the reed with excessive jaw pressure. You will create a seal around the mouthpiece like a drawstring bag by sealing your lips around the mouthpiece completely. Your lips should be snug around the mouthpiece. Your tongue should be high in your mouth as though you were about to hiss like a cat. Go ahead and do that now so that you can feel the sensation of your tongue being high in your mouth as though you were hissing. Take a full breath for every note that you play, even when it's quiet. There are other variables behind your embouchure too. For instance, the space between your teeth should be about a thumb's width when you play. Now, before you test that, make sure your hand is clean so that you're not putting a dirty hand in your mouth. Rest your tongue against your bottom teeth until you need to use it, and the arch of your tongue should be high as though you're hissing. Everything behind your tongue needs to be open and relaxed as though you were sighing. Go ahead to take a moment now and sigh to feel what it feels like to have the things behind your tongue, like your soft palate and your throat, be nice, relaxed, and open. Make sure that your notes start with a 2, 2, 2 sound. In order to find what that feels like, start your air and let your instrument make sound when it's your turn, and then you're going to interrupt that sound by having the top of the tip of your tongue touch the top of the tip of the reed, and therefore interrupting the airstream. It will sound like the letter T. That letter T is what you will start most of your notes in band with. Now that you've seen the correct and incorrect postures, hand techniques, and embouchure, it's time to make beautiful sounds on just our mouthpieces. Now that you've learned to assemble, disassemble, maintain, and disinfect your saxophone, it's about time that we start making our first notes on our mouthpiece. In order to do that, you're going to need to have the neck, the mouthpiece, the ligature, and the reed fully assembled. There's no need for the body or the neck strap yet. The first step of embouchure formation is going to be talking about your bottom lip. Your bottom lip will cover the top of your bottom teeth, so it acts as a very gentle cushion for your reed to rest upon, like this. The second step of embouchure formation has to do with your teeth. Your top teeth are going to rest on the top of the mouthpiece. Where, you ask? That's why I have this piece of paper. This is called the paper trick. What I'm going to do is gently slide this piece of paper between the mouthpiece and the reed. You'll notice that part of the way down, it doesn't want to go down any further. That's because at one point, the reed is actually touching the mouthpiece, whereas near the top, it's separate from the mouthpiece. This line that is created by the piece of paper once it stops moving is exactly where you want to put your teeth. Now, since I don't want this piece of paper in my mouth, what I'm going to do is I'm going to mark that spot with my thumb, and that way, when I put the mouthpiece in my mouth, perfect. I know exactly where it goes. The third step of embouchure formation is going to be talking about the corners of your mouth. The corners of your mouth are going to come in to form a bit of an ooh. This ooh is going to wrap around the mouthpiece like a hug, sealing the air so that it doesn't escape out the corners of your mouth. So once you line up your bottom lip and your top teeth in the right spot from your paper trick, you will need to bring in the corners of your mouth to say ooh. The final step of embouchure formation on the saxophone is going to be dealing with your chin. You need to stretch your chin downward to make a pointy chin. What this does is it gets a lot of your bottom lip out of the way so that your reed can freely vibrate and make beautiful tones. So again, the 4 steps are a cushion for the reed, your top teeth, bringing your corners in, and then making a flat chin. All 4 steps together, and you're ready to play. The next thing that we're going to talk about has to do with articulation. This is the way that we will start the note. And your band director will talk about this all the time. Your tongue is very important for starting each note. Now let me teach you a way to find the perfect way to start your notes. First, we're going to set up our embouchure in our 4 steps just like before, but this time we're going to move air through our buzzer so that it makes a whoo sound. In the middle of that whoo sound, what I'm going to do is I'm going to touch the top of the tip of my tongue to the top of the tip of the reed, and it's going to interrupt that airstream oh so very briefly. So it's going to go from whoo to whoo, two, 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 two. And again, I'm just interrupting the airstream with my tongue. That's called tonguing the note. Now you should try to do it at the start of the note. The last step of embouchure formation actually has to do with your cheeks. When you play your saxophone, whether it's the buzzer or the full-blown saxophone, you definitely don't want your cheeks puffing out like this. Instead, you want the air going through the instrument instead of going into your cheeks. The way that you guarantee this is just thinking about bringing your cheeks in to touch your teeth. If that's difficult for you to maintain in the middle of a note, think about creating dimples right in the center, and that will hold your cheeks against your teeth, like this. We don't want them to get all puffy. That's disgusting. Don't ever do that. Much better.